And we are live. That was some very oriental intro music there that was not by design. I just clicked, whatever came up and that was it. So feels on brand given that we have UFC Shanghai this week. Before we go any further, my boy Ryan,
I'm
how are
good, my
you, my
brother. How
friend?
are you?
Yes, doing very well on a lovely Friday here. I'm ready to get into UFC Shanghai.
Yeah,
How are you
mate. Same
feeling?
here. A lot of good spots I like.
Love to hear that. I think we both did. How'd you go last week? I do
Terrible,
not remember.
terrible.
Terrible. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Very
Yeah,
similar.
the day was saved by a max bet on Carlos Prates at -200. I've only done like three max bets in my life, and yeah, it was kind of looking dodgy to start, but I knew he would actually get Jeff Neal. Yeah, that max bet on Carlos Prates, MVP and Prates multi, and funnily enough, a loopy and Oleg parlay saved me. Everything else, Asakura in the distance, Chase Hooper MVP. Oh,
Yeah.
just terrible.
Yep. No, I'm with you. I got a bit of an ass whooping as well with a few of those same spots. Asakura ITD was the big one. Still just surprised at that whole fight, to be quite
Mm,
honest. But the Hooper ITD one as well. Like Herzog can literally suck it from the back. That
yeah,
cunt honestly has ruined more bet slips for me than anyone I can remember
absolutely.
recently. Like the amount of round two, round three violence props that I take people for, and he lets them, go within an inch of their life. And then Hooper, who's renowned for a beating, gets, hit with four shots while he's down, rolls to his back and gets it called off with 1 second left. I've never seen anything
Just
like it.
insane. Just insane.
Uh, Herzog can legit suck it from the back. All right, UFC Shanghai this week. Obviously, the main event: Johnny Walker versus Zhang Mingyang. What do you
Let's
say we
do it,
kick it
brother.
off? All right, my boy. Kicking it off with a light heavyweight scrap between Uran. This is going to test me. Satibaldiev taking on Diar Nergajay. Smashed it. Prices. Let me just refresh. We have a Sati Baldiev at -147 favorite, and then the comeback on DR is +127. I'll kick us off first. Obviously, DR coming off the back of that loss to Brenson Ribeiro, which is never a good look. I don't think like he does present some interesting difficulties. I'd say just given the length and the reach, but I feel like if you're going to be anything in this light heavyweight division, you probably should be beating him and definitely not losing to him in the manner that happened. But I do think there was a bit of, I do think there might have been some, some intangibles that were not, he missed weight. He did, he looked sort of off. So I wouldn't be surprised if he came into that fight injured or something like that. There were some, extenuating circumstances on the DR side. So he's coming up here against Satabialdiev, who we've only really seen against Martin Budai, obviously no longer in the UFC. I didn't think he looked too bad, but again, Budai is a guy that, um, again, he's tricky to like. He's very durable, decent volume output for heavyweight, a lot of cage clinch, very physical. So he's not going to have that fight here against DR. But at the same time, I almost feel like there's a bit of recency bias. Like DR goes from like a what was he? He's a -400 favorite against Brenton, and now he's it was +170 at the start of the week underdog. I think if you got DR +170, you did a good job. Feels like dog or pass, but I don't think there's enough juice in it now to really be super interested. So I'm just happy to pass this one. To be quite honest, what do you
Yeah,
think?
I think this is a pretty volatile matchup, and there is a lot of recency bias to this. Yeah, Sada Baldiev, he's all right. Like he has a huge height and reach advantage here, and I think if we were to compare both of their striking, Sada Baldiev will just probably overall look a bit cleaner and technical from distance, but in close could see Nogase land like nice short shots, but they are in opposite stances. Like Sadi Baldiev's long one two will be money if he can land it, and we saw Brenison Ribeiro drop Nogase with a clean one two, as he does carry his like hands low. But I think if Nogase mixes in grappling, like Sadi Baldiev will be exploitable. Like um, Sadibaldiev is strong against the cage, but he can be taken down in open space, can be judo thrown, and if he can get taken down, he doesn't do anything from his back. Just last year in a round three win against a guy named Bruno Assist, towards the end of the first round, he was taken down with a judo throw, and yeah, Assist went from side control to full mount so easily, nearly locked in an arm triangle and the triangle in the last minute. And yeah, halfway through round two, got taken down again from a level change after he rocked Assist and spent the rest of the round helpless off his back. And it may be hard to erase Nogaze's fight against Ribeiro from your memory because he absolutely sold in that fight, but he did get two takedowns quite easily against a guy named Konstantin Andreitsev in a five rounder a few years back. He got takedowns with ease, like in each and every round. Must have gotten around 15 to 20 minutes of control time in that 25 minutes. So he can implement a grappling game plan. Yeah, the odds have kind of corrected itself now. If you got him at plus 170, that would have been the play. But now, like, I do line this as a pick 'em, and I just don't know if I'm willing to play this guy at plus 120.
Yeah, it's probably not enough. Probably not enough meat on the bone for me either. Happy to pass and just sort of see if DR can recorrect himself, get back on the winning path, or we see some more from Sadabialdiev. So yeah, see how we go. Okay, up the card to a fight which I feel like I've seen 3 to 4 times. We have Xiao Long, 27-9, taking on Su Young Yu, 15-3. Prices, we have more or less a pick 'em. It's slightly on the side of Su Young Yu. Su Young Yu minus 115 to 120. Long Zhao minus 105. We're in that range, but all things considered, it's pretty close. Ryan, who wins this fight?
Uh, Pre-tape, I really liked Su Young Yu in this spot. I think his skill set is very good, and I think out of all the road to the UFC guys, like he's probably one of the ones that are capable of having a higher ceiling in the UFC. Like he brings in high level grappling with well timed takedowns, great jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and top pressure. And he's relentless with his grappling. On top of that, I think he has underrated striking, which is elevated by the threat of his takedowns. He's very measured and dynamic with his attacks, and he does maintain a high work rate through 15. And similarly, Long Zhao has a very high work rate as well, but he's more forward pressure heavy with his game, very chaotic and wild with his attack. And I feel like there's no process other than coming forward with intensity, looking to brawl and land a big punch over the top. And a lot of the times, I just think he's just throwing for the sake of throwing, while Su Yang Yu is very clearly setting things up and chipping away at openings. Long Zhao is definitely way more hittable of the two, but Su Yang Yu is very much there to be hit as well, like especially if exchanges get messy. But what Long Zhao has going for him is that he can take a punch, and I don't think Su Yang Yu will knock him out, as he doesn't hold too much power. And since Long Zhao is a bit of a knucklehead, he looks to get it right. He looks to get it back right away if he gets hit, and he will be the power threat here. And with Su Yang Yu, he doesn't quite pull away and put a stamp on rounds with his striking. It's his grappling that wins him the clear rounds. The striking is always fought in close margins in his fights, and if he doesn't get the grappling going, there's reason to be concerned if you're on the Su Yang Yu side. A few fights back in Road to the UFC, he won a split decision against Demisi Zawapasi. Crazy name.
Yeah.
He's someone with comparable wild striking to Long Xiao, and he was able to anti-wrestle very well. He got taken down 8 times from 14 attempts, but he kept on getting up each and every time. Only gave up under 3 minutes of control time from those 8 takedowns. And he ended up being the fresher guy in round three and outlanded Su Yang Yu in significant strike numbers and landed some big wild strikes as Su Yang Yu would just lean back. Similarly, Su Yang Yu was also TKO'd 2 years ago by Dastan Amangeldi, where he crumbled in the third round to a body shot in a fight where he got zero grappling going and was forced into a grueling stand-up war. And one thing about Long Xiao is that he has excellent defensive grappling, sprawls well, strong against defense, and if he gets taken down, he doesn't accept position. He has the explosiveness and awareness to reverse or just work back up with his strength. Like in a split decision loss a few fights back against Chang Ho Lee, he defended 7 from 9 takedowns, and with those takedowns, Chang Ho Lee accumulated just under 2 minutes of control. And similarly, in a fight before where he won by majority decision, he defended 16 of 19 takedown attempts, worked his way back up each time, and outlanded the guy 2-1 in significant strikes, 109 significant strikes to 57. And probably my favorite effort from Long Zhao is against Shohei Noze. He defended 13 of 17 attempts, only gave up 1 minute 30 of control time with those four takedowns. He got two reversals, a further two takedowns from two attempts of his own, and he got over 6 minutes control time on him. So I think Long Zhao is very live to win here, which is weird for me to say because I remember he made his UFC debut and I just did not rate this guy at all. And Su Young Yu is someone that I actually rate as I watch. But I just think this is a good stylistic matchup for Long Zhao as the fight on the feet is in pretty fought. It's fought in pretty close margins. I think Long Zhao lands bigger strikes, has bigger moments. He anti wrestles well early, then completely defends takedowns as the fight goes on, and he'll be the fresher fight as the fight goes to the later rounds, in my opinion. So yeah, I took a 1.5 unit stab on Long Zhao plus 111.
Very nice dog shot. Um, Yeah, I think you touched on a lot of points that I wanted to touch on. I find it really hard to break down a lot of these road to UFC guys, mainly because they don't they just don't fight a good level of competition, and they kind of only fight each other. So you don't really know where to place them until they start branching out, and you can sort of get your bearings back. But we're in the UFC now. Both guys have had 1 to 2 fights in the UFC, and they're still fighting road to UFC guys. So immediately I'm going, okay, I'm pretty scared here because I really don't know where to put him. But what you said at Long Jiao, I'm much the same. I did not, I wasn't particularly high on him coming into the UFC. I think from memory, we both had him against. We had Quang Lee against him, right? UFC Macau.
Sure did.
I remember, yeah, I remember that. So I think that shows you that we both, sort of pretty low on him, and maybe we're starting to get a bit higher on him. But yeah, like you said, as long as this fight stays on the feet, it does feel like it will favour Long Zhao purely off volume and the power and differential. So if Su Young thinks he can compete on the feet with Long Zhao, he very well may for a little bit, but I think you're just risking. I think you're just risking a path that isn't the path of least resistance versus anticipating Long Zhao's crazy wild striking exchanges and looking for a takedown. Where I do think Su Young Yu does have can have success in that area, and if that is how he wins, if there is a way that he wins, I think it's that way. So he's going to be looking for the grappling. I'm just not sure he could do it through all 15 minutes, and I'm not sure he can. Maybe he takes the back and submits him. I do think that's probably a path to victory, but it's probably a slim path. And I think the longer the fight goes, the probably longer it plays to Long Zhao. Long Zhao's advantage. They get slippery, and it's a bit more scramble based, which I think plays into his style. So yeah, I think gun to my head, I'd probably pick Long Zhao. But we're getting minus 105, plus 105 is not a huge differential. I think if you can get him at any dog money, it's probably the side. I haven't pulled the trigger yet. Not sure that I will, just give it. I don't have a great bearing on these two, but that's my inkling.
Yeah, nice breakdown, mate.
Alrighty, up the card to a classic fight. We have Yija 25-5 taking on the boy
One
Weston
kilo.
Wilson 17-9. Prices, we have a Yija minus 1200. Crazy money. Crazy money. Taking on Weston Wilson plus
0-2 in
700.
the UFC.
All right. 0-2 in the UFC and minus 12.
Yeah,
Is that what you
0-2
said?
in the UFC and minus 1200.
Yeah, that's different gravy for sure. Um, I mean, if you play minus 1200 on Yija, I don't know what to tell you. Look, Weston Wilson is as bad as it gets for sure. I just don't think this. What is other people? Let me just quickly check what the last two fighters were. What was Gene Silver? I don't even think Gene Silver was this big of a price against Weston
No, I don't
Wilson.
think so as well.
Like I think he was a minus. I think Weston Wilson was like a plus 600 dog. I think Joanderson Brito was. He was a little
Yeah.
bit wider, and then obviously Jeka Sergei wasn't a huge underdog, but I mean, we know what Weston Wilson is. He's this terrible, awkward karate point fighter that's got no striking defense whatsoever. Gets backed up. Look, if he wins here, it's probably a submission and a submission early. So I feel like if you want to just go Wilson sub round one, it probably covers his whole win condition. Just trying to get a price just to see roughly what it is. Wilson round one sub plus 2,000 plus 2,500, somewhere in that range. I feel like that is a better play than playing Yuzha 1,200 in anything. The guy is good for sure. He's decently well rounded. I don't love his takedown defense, but look, he's gritty. He's pretty durable. Can take a fucking shot, that's for sure. Like he's fought decent guys in Gabriel Santos, who in that fight, man, I thought he should have got finished about 3 times. Like he ate some major shots, but he kept walking forward. He's very hard to stop. He's gonna have decent volume output. So on the feet, I do think it's to his advantage. But Weston Wilson's a long, lanky, awkward, retarded, autistic sort of fighter. Like I don't know. I don't know. Minus 1,200. I'm just not that interested in parlaying it at all. It just doesn't add enough, and I just don't know enough about the guy. So I'm not playing anything here. If I was, it was Weston Wilson sub round one plus 2,500. Take a little nibble on that. If he loses and gets bonked, which probably happens, so be it. You move on with your life.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna.
Anything to add?
I'm not even gonna entertain a breakdown on here. It's doggo pub, and I'm
Yeah.
not even confident with dog.
Yeah, it's a fair call. All right, up the card 2. Middleweight bout between the returning Kyle Dorcas, 15-4, taking on Michelle Pereira, 31-13. Prices we have Michelle Pereira minus 260. You get a Kyle Dorcas comeback plus 220. Ryan, does Michelle Pereira dance out here, gas himself out, and bonk Dorcas in round 1, or does Dorcas take him to deep waters and drown him?
Who knows, man? Michelle Pereira went from being in a fight he wouldn't win against Marco Tulio to a fight he shouldn't lose. Prior to Michelle Pereira's losses to Avis and Fluffy, he would have been a guaranteed pick here, like easy parlay piece. Probably covers his price tag, like especially minus 300 to minus 350 range. I think. Yeah, that'll then. Sorry.
I actually think even if you had the Fluffy fight, I think you could still put your hands up and go, fair enough, and still be interested in backing him here. But that last fight is just so bad.
Yeah, is terrible. He looked atrocious. Like he gassed out early, showed no intent to win. And look, I know Kyle Dorcas riding a 4-fight win streak and wanting to turn a new leaf in his second stint may look nice. It might remind you of Yusuf Zalal, but man, like if you look at who Dorcas is beating, he's beating bums. And the one win he had by unanimous decision, he was lucky to win that because he was close to getting finished and the ref just didn't stop it. Yeah, I don't think it's out of this world that he somehow manages to win this because Michelle Pereira, like you can forgive him for that fluffy fight. Maybe it did a lot of damage to his career, but the Avis one, man, he looked very washed, and maybe Dorcas has improved to the point where he could match a washed Pereira. So if he can weather the storm, who knows? Get Pereira to the ground when he's tired, find a dark choke. But yeah, no interest in this fight. I'll go pass. Kyle Dorcas sub. Michelle Pereira probably wins.
Yeah, it's a fucking ugly fight. I almost feel like Pereira's unforgivable for not even losing against Abus, but the way he lost. Just terrible. Like he obviously we know what his skill set is and the type of fighter he's been for quite a long time, but I think he gassed out in like 2 minutes that time, which has to be a new record.
And he did like a pre-fight dance.
Yeah, pre-fight dance just gave me the heebie-jeebies. I mean, look, Kyle Dorcas is not a super durable guy. Like, I do think he is a bit... I don't know if chinny's the right word, but he definitely can be hit and he definitely can be hurt. So, like, in my head, Michelle Pereira probably should bonk him early. But at the same time, minus 260, minus 270 on this mug who's going to dance out to the octagon, probably has 5 minutes of juice, and then he's going to give up. Hey, do you want to play minus 260 on that guy? I don't. I mean, do I want to play the dog on Kyle Dorcas? Not really, but plus 220 is pretty wide. So I feel like I could take a shot here. If he gets bonked round 1, oh well, I'll go home, rip my ticket up. But if it goes past 5 minutes, I feel like that plus 220 turns to, 50-50 fight very, very quickly, in my opinion. So you just got to survive about 5 minutes of torture, of front kicks, of explosiveness, and then hopefully you drag him to deep waters, get him on the mat, wrap the neck up, and get him out of there. So yeah, I think plus 220 it has to be dog or pass in my opinion. I'm not laying minus 260 on a spud like Michelle.
Yeah, no.
Alrighty, up the card to lightweight, we have Rongju 26 and 6 taking on Austin Hubbard 17 and 9. Prices, we have a Rongju minus 250 and an Austin Hubbard at plus 210 plus 215, somewhere around that mark. I'll kick us off here. Again, I feel like this might be a little bit of recency bias built into the Rongju line. Like you got him at plus 280 last time against Cody Steele in a fight that I personally didn't think he would have as much success as he did. I was pretty interested in Cody Steele as a prospect. Like decent grappler, decent wrestler, decent striker. I think we all knew his poor striking defense and those tendencies, and Rongju took advantage of them pretty well and just hurt him a lot on the feet and was able to keep the fight standing. And look, when it is on the feet, he is hard to deal with. Like he's a decent striker, he's got very good output, throws straight, throws with good power and speed, good in the pocket. He's a little bit hittable himself, but he's pretty durable and hard to get out of there. So in a fight like that, I can understand why you'd want to be on his side here against a guy like Hubbard who seems to be slowing down in his MMA career, like been around for a while, but he's only 33. He's not super old, but he does have some wear and tear for just, being in competition and being in fights for quite a while. And the two losses to Hernandez and Medeiros is definitely, in my opinion, sort of the worst version of Hubbard that we've seen. Just like because like early in his career, you could kind of rely on him in 2 and 3 to kind of be in there and like showing glimpses of like wanting to win and wanting to finish fights late because he's never been that good. He's not particularly athletic or explosive, but he can take damage and take guys to deep water with like a mix of this grappling, wrestling, cage clinch, striking, everything mixed in together and just wearing on people. But he slowed down a bit against Alex Hernandez, which is like a red flag in itself. And then the Medeiros fight didn't have much to give as well. And admittedly, they are decent guys, but he's coming up here against a guy in Rongju who you're getting in Shanghai, a Chinese guy that's just come off the back of a big dog win. Seems like the UFC might be giving him a chance to get a couple of wins here together. I don't know, minus 250 is a massive price tag to get to on a guy like Rongju, but I just think he's got a bit more to give at this point, which is, not particularly technical, but striking on the feet, I think he's got the edge. If Hubbard mixes in some grappling, it's probably going to be to his benefit for sure. But yeah, I think Rongju wins. I think the line might be slightly wide. That minus 250 does seem a big clip to get to, but I think Rongju probably wins just off damage and bigger moments.
Yeah, I'm with you there, man. Yeah, never really rated Austin Hubbard. Really, like his best wins in the UFC are like Michael Figlak, Dakota Bush, Max
Mm,
Roscoff, Karl Propolek. I will give him like props. Like he lost in close margins to Alex Hernandez and Markel Medeiros. Like I thought those guys would run through him, but yeah, he made it close. And yeah, I just feel he's the typical good everywhere, not great anywhere kind of guy. Tough chip, durable and scrappy,
yeah.
but he lacks power and athleticism. And people with holes in certain parts of the game can struggle against Hubbard's well-roundedness. And here we have Rong Zhu, who is 8 years younger, currently on his second UFC stint after going 1-2 back in 2021. Went back to the regionals, made his way back through road to the UFC, and despite having an unsuccessful return against Taco Padilla, getting TKO'd, I think his eye swelled up from an elbow. Yeah, he just
Yeah.
had the performance of his life against Cody Steele in his last fight as a plus 280 dog. And yeah, outlanded him 125 to 59 strikes, won every round clearly, negated his grappling. And yeah, you can see he's rounding out his game. The only thing that kind of find dodgy is that like there's when you're lining fights like this, like he's like what minus 360 now,
Uh, I don't think.
two
No, I think
something,
it's two
250.
250. I
Yeah,
think.
As you
Yeah.
said, there is a bit of like recency bias, and Cody Steele and Rong Zhu, those are two guys that are very familiar with each other. Maybe a
Mm.
few years back when Rong Zhu was still like not really um, popping off with his game, like he was still getting the better of Steele like back then, and he just came in here with confidence. But yeah, I like his move to City Kickboxing, and I just feel like he should get the win here. Like he'll probably win probably by decision. I lean the decision side on this one.
And they kind of look the fucking same, to be quite honest with you, as well. Rongzhu and Cody Steele. They look like sort of long lost brothers. You could almost say it.
Yeah.
That comes
Mhm.
that has to come into the breakdown. You know that you have to work that into your capping.
Oh, for sure.
Card two, one I'm really flyweight. We have Johnson 17-17 on Loney Kavanagh 9-0. I know we both love a bit of Loney Kavanagh.
Mm.
You're getting Kavanagh at minus 195, minus 200, somewhere in that range. Come back on Charles Johnson plus 170, somewhere around there. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I don't know what's happened to my camera. Something's going on. Who wins this fight, mate?
Yeah, look, first instinct when I heard of this matchup was, yeah, Loney Kavanagh was just going to win. Like he's riding a lot of momentum. He's a somewhat hometown guy. He has the Chinese flag. Checking off a lot of boxes. Looks to have a high ceiling, very much star potential. And yeah, Charles Johnson is coming off a loss, and he's just a bit of a overlooked fighter with a bit of mileage now. But after tape, I think this is going to be tough. Like we all see Kavanagh's highlights and regionals and his round one knockout in contender series, but Cage Warriors' experience is always sort of questionable. And we all remember Kavanagh getting his hand raised by unanimous decision in his two UFC wins, but it's not like he ran through Felipe dos Santos and Ochoa without struggle. He needed a grapple against Felipe dos Santos to put a stamp on rounds because it played out pretty close on the feet. Dos Santos won a round on the scorecards, and he just has non-existent takedown defense, and he was just happy to work from his back. Um, Same with Jose Ochoa. It played out close with Ochoa nearly getting a sub in round two on Kavanagh, and in the third round, Kavanagh had to really dig deep in that round, winning that deciding round by the slightest margin. And Charles Johnson, he is hands down probably the best and most experienced opponent he will have faced. And if there's any digging deep in rounds 2 and 3 to do here, that's typically where Johnson really comes on. I guess my worry is that he fights at a 5 round pace and sometimes just doesn't get started in round one, and it's a swing round in round two. So we might see a situation where he's fighting from behind, which I just don't like. But he seems to be self aware based on his posts and on Twitter. And if he fixes this up, this could play out closely. And if it's playing out closely on the feet in the fight and Kavanagh wants to shoot, Johnson won't be like Felipe dos Santos. He is an experienced wrestler. He has great takedown defense and defensive wrestling. And he does have a good get up game. I think he can stuff the takedown, keep the fight up, and just get back right to peppering him with shots. While I imagine Kavanagh will probably have to take a deep breath before getting back to looking for a counter. And while I think Kavanagh will have the more impactful moments due to his power, his creativity and timing, he absorbs a lot of punches too. Look at the numbers on significant strikes against Felipe dos Santos. He only outlanded him 58-51, and against Ochoa 51-50. We've also seen Kavanagh have some trouble in the regionals, getting rocked, and he is just there to be hit. Like he gets fixated on setting up his shots and attacks that he'll just sometimes just stand there and be happy to absorb some strikes because he knows he's going to get it. So yeah, Charles Johnson may not have the raw power to knock out Kavanagh, but he has dynamic boxing, high output, and he's very defensively responsible. He can very much win minutes on the feet. He can negate wrestling attempts from Kavanagh, and I think if it's a battle of who's digging deeper, I have more confidence on Charles Johnson. But as for playing this fight, I don't know if I want to like put my money on energy on Charles Johnson, even at pretty good plus money when there's so much momentum and hype in Kavanagh, and it's somewhat a hometown spot, and the UFC really wants to build this kid. So I think my favorite bet in attacking this fight is Lonier Kavanagh decision no bet at minus 175. I think he can probably get a finish here. And if it goes the distance and it's like it swings both ways, I don't mind getting my money back. So yeah, that'll be my bet that I haven't played yet, but yeah, I'm interested in that. Lonia Kavanagh decision no bet -175.
Well, you're going to love what I'm about to say because I think Loney Kavanagh knocks him out. I think he does.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to be honest. Like, people have this image of Charles Johnson in their head, and I think it's because of that Josh Van fight where, great performance, looked good, but I don't know. I've just not been that high on Charles Johnson, in his career. Like, take away that Josh Van performance. What do you think his most impressive performance is?
Who's that? As it Maxim
That's what I thought you'd say as at Maxim, and like
nearly got knocked out.
that's what I mean. Like, this guy's getting hurt in a lot of fights, man. I think, like, from memory, Mudaerji hurt him as well recently. Ramazan Tavírov, his last fight, like, the thing that I'm scared of the most in this fight is the size and the length of Charles Johnson. I think that played a major part in the fight with Josh Van, where he just moved forward with such pace and pressure and used that frame that Josh Van was never really comfortable. And I do worry about that here with Loney. But I think Loney has just huge upside in this fight. Like, Charles Johnson's not going to wrestle. He's a wrestler, but he doesn't really wrestle offensively that much. He's happy to wrestle defensively and then turn that into a scramble. But, like, he's not going out there and shooting double leg takedowns very often. Like, as much as his corner, will rage at him and yell at him and tell him to do that, or like people on Twitter will tell him to do that, he doesn't often do that. So, like, more or less, he's this long, lanky striker that doesn't have huge power, isn't particularly technical, doesn't have great defensive tendencies. And now you're coming in here against a Loney Kavanagh who, yes, he's going to have a size advantage on, but can fucking crack and is a legit striker. I wouldn't be surprised if Loney knocks him out, to be quite honest. He gets hurt a lot. He's stepping up in China. I don't know. This matchmaking feels odd. Like, and I say odd as in, I don't know. A lot of people are pushing Charles Johnson to get like this top 15 fight, to do this, to do that. And then they push him to like a Temerov, who's like an upcoming prospect. And now they're pushing him to a Loney, who is obviously an upcoming prospect. So I don't know. I think I'm on the Loney side big here. I think as long as he's on the feet, I think he chews up Johnson's legs. I think he'll be probably a volume disadvantage. But in terms of a pure one-on-one power advantage, I think Loney's got it in spades. And I don't, I don't take anything away from the Ochoa or the FDS loss. Like, those guys are very, very durable. They're killers. They're from the same camp. They would have game planned him very, very well. So I don't take it, too much stock out of those losses. And I just think he lands a big shot here on Charles Johnson. I think it's probably an overhand right or a straight right, something like that, down the pipe. I think he hurts him. I think he follows him up, and I think he gets him out of there. Fingers crossed it's not Jason Herzog, who once more can suck it from the back. But yeah, I think Loney Kavanagh knocks him out here. Hot take.
Yeah, nice. He won against FDS, and
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, people were putting him down for those
oh,
wins. Like, they were saying they weren't that impressive or whatever. But like, they're tough guys to look good against in that
yeah,
they're very durable. They're fucking zombies. They walk forward. They're always in your face, which is kind of similar to a Charles Johnson. So yeah, I just think he puts him down. I really do. I don't trust the Chitter Johnson. I think Loney cracks.
I like it. I like it.
Mr. Wipeout 2008 says Weston Wilson sub about to feed families.
I fed my family last time.
Yeah, 100%. Sub 1 plus 2,500. Might feed generations. I don't know. Let's see. All right, up the card to a lightweight scrap. Again, this is one that I'm very interested to sort of hear where you're sitting. Mahashate, 10-4, taking on Gage Young, 9-3. Prices, we have a Gage Young -130, which is kind of surprising a little bit. And then he's listed on the fight odds as Mahashate, first and last name, plus 110. Yeah, I think this is a good fight, to be quite honest with you. This is a fight between two guys who want to get in there and want to just scrap. And I like that. I think this is going to stay on the feet for as long as it lasts. And I kind of think both guys are kind of similar, where they don't have good defense at all. It's very bad defense on both sides. They're both very hittable. I think Gage Young takes shots better than Mahashate. That's my major point in this one. In terms of who hits harder, I kind of lean the side of Mahashate. I think he does hit a little bit harder, but at the same time, he's got a worse chin, so it's a tough one. Um, Gage Young coming off the back of the loss to Evan Elder, which I had a stab on him at dog odds at, and
Same here.
I wasn't necessarily disappointed. I think he could have done things differently to look better for sure. But that's his UFC debut against a tough guy in Evan Elder, who's very durable, is very well rounded in MMA, and he's coming in here against a Mahashate who's not particularly great anywhere. Striking is definitely his strong suit, but he's got bad grappling, bad durability, a lot of bad traits, and as does Gage Young. So to me, this is a pretty close fight. This is a pretty low level MMA fight. It's a fun striking fight though in that. Um, but you know what's throwing me off? The fucking Steve Garcia loss. That
Mm.
that wa- that sorry, that win for Mahashate really just throws me out and about because like this guy's losing to Borshev and Mota, who to me are similar-ish fighters in that they want to get in the pocket, they want to box you, same as Steve Garcia, but he's lost to two, but he beat Steve Garcia bad round one,
That was
which
just
is
weird.
yeah, I'm kind of just putting that to volatility of MMA and like trying to put that aside. Um, yeah, I think this is a tough fight to call. I like. I don't know. It's close. Honestly, it's close, which probably means it's dog or pass. I kind of think Gage Young's going to clip him in the pocket, and I kind of trust Gage Young to take shots better. But I also think Mahashate is probably going to be the one that's throwing straight a bit more often. I don't know. I think unders is probably my overall lean for the fight. Under 2.5 is +135. As I said, I think it's a striking fight. I think they both, look to get in the pocket. I think probably one of them goes down. So, give me violence.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a fun one. Yeah, Marchada, he's not. I've never really like rated him really.
Mm.
I do really like Gage Young, and like despite him being 0-2 under the UFC banner, I like him in this spot. Like Marshada, he's 1-4 in his last five. The one win was a split decision against a very, very washed Gabriel Benitez,
Mm.
and he's losing in dominant fashion to Rafa Garcia, Nicholas Motor, and Slava, which he got knocked out for. Um, I will say from kickboxing range, he will look really good. Like he's got decent kickboxing from distance. He's high in volume, dynamic in attacks, and he has consequential power if he hits you with a counter coming in. You can ask Steve Garcia about that.
Yep.
I don't know. Despite his high activity, like he has very low accuracy. Like his striking accuracy is at 29%, and against Benitez he landed like 97 out of 312 strikes, and against Rafa Garcia landed 25 out of 141. So he's definitely throwing a lot out there, but that only tells me that he's just like desperately like begging to be counted. And in the pocket and boxing range, like I feel that Malshade is terrible. Like he stands very upright, doesn't move his head. He punches with weird technique, and his hands don't come back to his chin. And I just think Gage Young is way too good in the pocket with his boxing, and he's defensively responsible enough at kickboxing range, and he can take a punch. So yeah, I took Gage Young for 2 units at -120. So I'm pretty confident that he gets the win here.
Love to hear that. I love a bit of Gage Young. I hope he wins. You like violence? You think he knocks him out?
I think he knocks him out. G Money, round two.
Love it. Love it. Alrighty, up the card to welterweight. Didn't know this spud was even still on the UFC roster, which is impressive that he even still is. We have Kiefer Crosbie, 10-5, taking on. I'm not even gonna do that first name. Nueraji, 11-1.
Taiyilake Neurology.
love,
Just go.
love the commitment. Love the commitment. Nueraji is -500. The comeback on Kiefer Crosbie plus 375, somewhere in that realm. Ryan, please tell me why I should take a dog shot on Kiefer Crosbie.
Don't do it. Yeah, this is probably the fight I looked into the least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call him TN. He's got 9 round one finishes from his 11 wins, 5-fight winning streak. He's a southpaw kickboxer, and he has very heavy hands, sharp kicks, and good timing with his elbows. And Kiefer Crosbie, he's 0-2 in the UFC. He's lost to Kevin Doucet and Sam Patterson, both by round one sub. He does carry power and is scrappy, but outside of landing a big shot, I'm watching this guy and I just don't think he's UFC level. But who knows if TN is? So I think TN probably wins, but I think this is a pass.
Yep. I'm just going to say this. Kiefer Crosby's last two wins are to Aaron Chalmers, who, formerly of Geordie Shore, popularity.
Mm-hmm.
And then before that, Cowboy Oliveira.
Oh, did he beat Cowboy Oliveira?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep. In Rise FC.
Is this the the really washed version of him?
Yes, very washed in a company that I have never even heard of in my life. Rise FC. So I think that says enough.
Does he have a loss against Mike Jackson?
Yeah, but it's not the Mike Jackson you're thinking.
Not the CM Punk Mike Jackson.
No, it's not that Mike Jackson, which would have been even funnier to be quite honest, but it's not. How can you play Kiefer Crosby here? The guy's a bum. He doesn't fight. When he does fight, he gets killed in round one. By any decent competition. Yes, generally they take him to the ground and sub him, which I'm not sure is Nueraji's. Is that how he's gonna come out here and fight? Do you think?
I think he's probably just going to come forward at him and just kickbox.
Yeah, I think he just puts him down round one. I don't really give a fuck. There's not a lot of value anywhere in the fight, so pretty content to pass. But Nueraji should kill him here if he's even just mediocre. All right, up the card we have a flyweight bout between Mudaerji 17-7 taking on Kevin Borjas 10-3. Prices, we have a Mudaerji minus 180 and a Kevin Borjas plus 155. Again, this is one that I think is a pretty fun fight. You're getting Mudaerji, who has had his ups and downs in the UFC. Typically, his downs are grappling based, where he can't force his striking kickboxing fight that he likes to be involved in, but gets taken down, gets in these scrambles, gets out scrambled, gets out grappled, and gets submitted. He's very durable. Like, he can take a lot of damage, which is obviously a tick, but it's not something you want to ever rely on. He has a big frame for the division as well. Big, long, lanky frame, which he's going to have a decent advantage here against Kevin Borjas, which I do think could play a decent part in this fight. I was pretty impressed with his loss to Charles Johnson. Look, as I said, I'm not particularly high on Charles Johnson, but I do think we saw a little bit of evolution from Mudaerji in that fight, where he's, maybe not his takedown defense, but his counter grappling looked good. He was able to hit some reversals and sweeps on Charles Johnson, which, if that's not a red flag for Charles Johnson as well, I'm not really sure what is. Mudaerji, the white belt grappler, hitting, fucking sweeps off his back against you, are pretty concerning. And then had that split decision win to Mitch Raposo, who I don't know if it was a split decision personally, but anyway, he brings some interesting skill sets. Look, the only thing is he's not particularly damaging, and you got a guy in Borjas who effectively is a Muay Thai striker. You're not going to look to grapple, which immediately is a tick for Mudaerji in this one. I think he's the more pure technical striker, Borjas. Like, he's pretty decent. I kind of like his style. It's kind of like the technical side. It's kind of like a shooter box kickboxing style, in that a lot of kicking output, a lot of overhands and things like that. He likes to move forward, get in your face, decent checks. Output's pretty good. I think this is, on the feet, I think this is a pretty close fight. Like, I don't think either guy necessarily has a huge power advantage, because I don't think they're huge power punches. And Kevin Borjas, like, I personally don't put a lot of stock into the Ronaldo Rodriguez, whatever the fuck you want to call him, lazy boy fights. That fight, just because he's so fucking hittable and he's so bad defensively, that I knew someone was going to do it, and any decent striker was going to do that to him. Who can out grapple So who can keep the fight, relatively low grappling and hit him up on the feet. Yeah, it's a close fight. I really don't have a lot of, I don't want to play either fighter here, to be quite honest. Mudaerji minus 180 feels like the side, but he's not going to be putting a lot of damage out. He's probably going to be winning a decision, best case. Maybe a round 3 finish, if that. But it seems like this one goes to decision. Margins are pretty thin. I'm not particularly keen on getting involved. You?
Yeah, I do have some action on this fight. Yeah, Sumadoji, like he will have the huge height and reach advantage, which will be very advantageous to his style because he fights so well from the kickboxing range. Like especially from his southpaw stance, he throws a very sharp 1-2, lunges in with his straight left effectively, strings together like nice fast combos when he closes the distance, and he does throw a variety of kicks high and low without telegraph. And yeah, a significant thing is Kevin Borjas doesn't defend leg kicks. Like we saw Alessandro Costa render him unable to stand in the second round and then finished him off with unanswered ground and pound. But I think you said it best. Sumadoji won't really be damaging him, while Kevin Borjas probably will, like if he lands.
Mm.
And yeah, I think from long range, Sumadoji can very well tag Borjas up with straight punches, front kicks to rack up points, but his style really requires him to be on the outside for a whole 15 minutes. And I don't think he can remain on the outside for a whole 15 minutes against Kevin Borjas, who um, in the boxing range, like he does land some big shots. I see him snapping Sumadoji's head back like often, then getting back to range and working his way back in,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even dropping him. So Sumadoji has his head up and chin high in the pocket, and since Kevin Borjas is a shorter guy with sharper boxing and quicker hands, I feel he will land some sneaky fast hooks and straight rights when he crashes into the inside. So I think Borjas can win in the distance or potentially even 29-28. But yeah, I do have a play on Borjas at plus 125.
Very nice. Did you get him earlier in the week or something?
Got him early in the week, and now he's gone up to plus 135, 140 or something.
Yeah, I think he's even. It looks like he's plus 155 as of this morning. So it
No.
depends how confident you are on him. Maybe you reinvest and get the price a bit higher. But it's interesting. I know you have a lot of conviction on. Well, maybe not a lot, but I know you have conviction on
Oh,
this
yeah.
next fight, which I'm excited to hear your breakdown for. Um, Heavyweight Sergei Pavlovich 19-3 taking on Waldo Cortes-Acosta. 14-1 for the Salsa Boy. Prices, we have a minus 250 for Pavlovich and a plus 210 for Waldo. Ryan, we make this joke every single time. Does the fat Dominican baseballer get up, or does the Russian fucking, I don't even know what to call him, White Kong, does he knock him out? What happens?
Mate, I am a Waldo truther, a worshipper. I've bet on him every step of the way with that one loss against Rogerio de Lima. And some highlights I've got on him was against Despain as plus 205 dog, got him by knockout against Spain, a good plus money, and as against Spivak as a plus 105 dog. I think he could have lost that Spivak fight.
Waldo is your heavyweight D-Rod.
Rod, yeah, very good comparison too. But yeah, this guy, not D-Rod, Waldo, he comes from a boxing background where he was a 6-4 journeyman, but his
Baseball background.
baseball background too. But yeah, his skills in boxing and baseball have translated well in MMA, and he doesn't stray from it. Like he motions boxes, works behind a sharp jab, throws that baseball like right hand, and yeah, and he throws his jab out from like his hips, so it's really hard to get a read on when he's throwing. He has a nice check left hook and pull back right hand as a counter, and he's pretty durable, defensively sound both on the feet and in his grappling, and he's got pretty good speed and timing as far as the heavyweight division goes, and keeps a high work rate. But here he's up against the most dangerous and experienced guy he's fought to date, a former title challenger, knockout artist who will have a huge physicality edge over Waldo. He has sharp and powerful boxing in his own right, and once he smells blood in the water, he's great at working towards that finish with a barrage of strikes. One look through Waldo's record, you'll probably say Despain, De Lima, and Span were his most dangerous opponents in terms of KO ability. And Despain, he has no grappling. De Lima, well, to be fair, De Lima destroyed Waldo's legs, but like Waldo just didn't show it. Like he was clearly like hurting, but like he just kept on coming forward. And Span, that guy's a bit of a flake. So I was not too hyped up with Waldo's performance against Spivak as well, but he did outland him in significant strikes 2-1 at the end, though it was close. But I also don't think there's too much to be excited about in the Pavlovich side as a heavy favorite. Sure, he can get a quick knockout like he did with buffheads like Bam Bam, Derek Lewis, low IQ Blades, and Maurice Green. And that's how he covers his price if he rushes in and gets a knockout early. But outside of that, this fight gets extended, it could look very ugly and play out close as it goes deep. And one thing about Waldo is that he thrives in those fights. Like um, Pavlovich early will have all the upsides, specifically speed and power. If he's measured and calculated, he'll catch Waldo early and often with like 3 to 4 punch blitzes and counter hooks. Probably have all the impactful moments in round one with Waldo landing jabs, leg kicks, and the odd right hand here and there. But after the first round, if Waldo is still there and Pavlovich doesn't get takedowns and control time like with Rosenstrike, I think it starts to even out. And we're just going to see two heavyweights trading from outside the pocket going blow for blow. And as much as Pavlovich is the more dangerous guy, I think he's pretty limited in his ability and tends to headhunt and load up. And I honestly think Waldo's slick boxing and defense will shine as the fight gets deep and Pavlovich like drops in output and speed. One thing about Waldo is that he's proven to maintain the same pace. Although he starts off slow, he like his opponents get slower and he's still slow. So he may not have early success while Pavlovich is sharp in his reactions, but as the fight goes on, I think Waldo's jabs to the head and body will start landing more often. So, which opens up his game. And the main difference here will be Waldo's lines of defense compared to Pavlovich, especially when fatigue sets in. Like Waldo, even tired, he still uses head movement, footwork, shoulder rolls, and a tight high guard when backed up, and he maintains that. While Pavlovich mainly is a blockhead, just raises his guard, moves forward and back in straight lines, and he will be hit when he's tired. So it's going to play out close. Pavlovich wins round one at a high clip, potentially gets a finish too, and Waldo probably has the better optics in round three, which makes round two a bit of a swing round. Um, I do have a 1 unit play on Waldo at plus 200, but feel like that's more for fun. I do have a somewhat ladder play on this fight. I got 0.75 units on fight starts round three at plus 100 and 0.75 units on fight goes the distance at plus 163. I think if this doesn't finish in the first round, I think it's going all the way.
Love that. Love that conviction. I've got my fingers crossed for you. I've got my fingers crossed for you. I mean, typically you're very good at predicting these heavyweight fights to go the distance, whereas I am quite the opposite, where I think every single one's going to finish in round one. So, I mean, I back you in. I'm pretty confident that you got your read down on that fight. My only, I guess, I like Waldo too, but I think his competition level is like about as low as you can get, which does scare me. I mean, obviously you have to take the step up at some point, but like Spivak, Span, Despain, Arlovsky, Breshki, they're literally the lowest of the low in the heavyweight. Well, maybe not the lowest of the low, but they're pretty fucking close. And then you get then you get to the lowest of the low in Chase Sherman and Jared Vandera. So he just has still yet to really fight anyone that I'm really impressed with, and maybe Pavlovich is just another easy step up to continue taking, but. You can't deny that Waldo is a pretty smart fighter, like for heavyweight division. I think like the way he's beating these guys is literally the path of least resistance, which is not something that these bonehead UFC fighters typically tend to do, which is so frustrating. But taking Despain down and just grapple fucking him for 15 minutes, good on you. As a massive dog, why would you not? Ryan Span, finish him, easy. Spivak fight, again, as you said, not super impressive. Do you think Pavlovich is slowing down in his career?
I think so, but
Yeah.
I think he's also getting a little bit smarter. Maybe like that last fight against Rosenstrike, I do like his IQ there.
Mm. Yeah, it's hard to know. Obviously, you're going from guys in Aspinall and Volkov to Rosenstrike is a clear step down, and then I mean potentially Waldo is as well. So yeah, you're a brave man. That's all I'll say. You're a very brave man, and I love the conviction. I got my fingers crossed for you. I'm terrified by this fight, to be quite honest. I think you're right though. One for Pavlovich, three for Cortes feels pretty fair. round two, probably the decider. I'd probably lean Pavlovich, but plus 200, you got enough juice on the bone to take that nibble, and hopefully this goes all the way for you.
Thank you, my friend.
Alrighty, up the card to the co-main event of the evening, 5 round co-main event. As much as Aljo doesn't like to hear that, it is Brian Ortega, 16-4, taking on Aljamain Sterling, 24-5. Prices, we got Aljo minus 280 and a Brian Ortega plus 240. I will kick us off here. I think I'm not particularly intrigued by this fight, to be quite honest. I'm not that excited by it.
It's
Are
a
you?
weird fight to have as a 5 rounder too.
I'm just like it feels like it's gonna be 5 rounds of like just grappling shit.
Mm.
And I already got that last weekend, so I don't want to see 5 rounds of grappling shit again. Um, I think Aljo wins. I'm just going to say it. I think Aljo wins. Look, is Ortega going to knock him out? I very much doubt so. Like, I've heard that he's gone to a new camp for
We've
some
heard that all before, but
yeah, he's an eagle. He's getting rebirthed as an eagle. All this weird shit. I think Ortega has a very, very low chance of knocking Aljo, like almost a 0% chance of knocking Aljo out. Aljo's decent enough and durable enough and whatnot that I don't think Ortega. I actually think Sterling has a striking advantage, which feels bizarre to say, but I genuinely think he does because he's so awkward and unconventional, has this weird kicking output offense, and Ortega is just such a bad defensive fighter. Like, one of the more hittable guys we've ever seen. Yes, very durable, but I think he's going to be taking more shots, the bigger shots, and I think Aljo's going to be able to wrestle him pretty decently. Like, I was impressed with Aljo's fight against Evloev. I thought Evloev was going to raw dog him and just big brother him, but Aljo hung in there, forced a lot of scrambles, a lot of weird ass backpack positions he gets into. I can see that happening to here. Ortega, obviously, his most likely path is a submission, just given that Aljo's probably going to be looking to, enter on his hips and stuff like that. And Ortega's obviously a legit, jiu-jitsu grappler. So I think if you play Ortega, I think you just play sub, take the money line out of it, just play sub. It feels like his most likely path to victory. Other than that, I feel like Aljo could knock him out with a kick. Like, I think it's on the lower end of outcome, but I do think it's a potential. I think he could knock him out with a kick. I think he could win a decision. I think he could maybe submit him with a rear naked choke on the back, but probably not. I think most likely this goes to decision. I think Sterling wins. I think it's probably 5 rounds of grappling shit that I'm not very intrigued to watch. So, what do you think?
yeah, you took the words right out of my notes. I got nothing more to add. I have a bet on Aljo round 4-5 decision at minus 110 for 1.5 units.
I feel like it's the way it goes. What price was that?
Minus 110.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I actually don't mind that. 4-5 decision. You get a little bit of leeway should there be some damage early.
Hmm.
Ortega's sub is plus 900. I mean, that's a fucking massive price tag.
Yeah.
It's a massive price tag for a guy who's a legit grappler. I might have to have a nibble on that, to be honest. I wasn't expecting it to be that big. I thought moneyline plus 250, whatever it is, maybe subs like plus 500.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Aljo's a bit like reckless sometimes.
He can be for sure. Like he'll. I think there'll be a lot of scrambles and stuff like that, which Aljo has shown that he can, deal with against, good grapplers like Evloev and stuff. But Ortega's a way more dangerous grappler than Evloev. Evloev's going to go for those strong positions and whatnot. Ortega's going to go for a legit finish. So I'm going to have to play Ortega sub. Like, that's a crazy price in my opinion.
Yeah, I like it. I like it, mate.
All right, main event of the evening time. Ryan, Johnny Walker, 21-9, taking on Zhang Mingyang, 19-6, the blockhead himself. Prices, we have a Mingyang Zhang, minus 330 to 350, somewhere in that range, and a Johnny Walker, plus 270 to plus 290. Does the Asian blockhead come in here and punch Walker's chin into Rose Z, or does Walker meme his way to another victory? Please tell me.
Well, this isn't going 25 minutes, and someone will be asleep in that octagon within the first 2 rounds. I personally think it's Johnny Walker. They'll be unconscious in there.
Yeah.
But, and he's such a wild card. Like, who's to say he doesn't land a random flying knee or spinning elbow that just breaks Zhang's chin? Like, he has been knocked out before. Outside of that happening, man, if there's going to be exchanges where they are trading at the same time or there are crashes into pocket, Zhang has stronger fundamentals while Walker is just upright with his chin high and he's just gonna like get hit and just fall down in the goofiest way. So I do think Zhang lands on his chin or temple pretty early and gets a round one KO.
Yeah, it's short, it's sweet. Much like I imagine this fight will go. Johnny Walker is going to be in the face of Zhang Mingyang, going, no, no, no. Like he'll be throwing a punch at him, he'll miss one, he'll go like that, and then he'll eat one, he'll go down. The way this guy emotes when he's literally the most chinnable fighter in the entire division is so funny. Um, Johnny Walker it's just bizarre. Like there were so many rumors and a lot of talk that he was going up to heavyweight, which I actually liked for him because I think if this guy wrestles, I genuinely think he would win more fights in the UFC.
Yeah, I agree.
Like if he went up to fat slob division, took some of these bums down and submitted him, I genuinely think he could like touch top 15 at heavyweight, which isn't saying a lot, but it is higher than I think he's going to do at light heavyweight. Like these guys are too quick, they're too powerful, they hit the target too well, and he's way too defensively irresponsible. He's got no durability, bro. I just saw an old clip of him getting fucking knocked out in sparring by, I can't even remember who it was now. It was some a young kid.
Hmm.
Fucking knocks him out. Johnny Walker's legit laying on his back, looking up at the.
Inspiring, or was it?
It
Was it?
was it was sparring. Like it's not a real fight. It's in the gym somewhere.
Oh no way!
Yeah, it's in the gym somewhere, and he legit gets dropped bad, and he's like, looking, he's fucked. Like he's not out cold, but he's definitely like on his back, going like, what the fuck just happened?
That's so bad.
Like the amount of times this guy must have been knocked out in training. He's actually like, you can imagine it, right?
Oh yeah, like there's guys like him that like him and Kevin Lee, like they just get knocked out. Whatever.
Yeah, imagine this guy goes to extreme couture. Like he'd be getting dropped like 3 or 4 times a session. I
Yeah.
reckon, honestly, which is probably why he's just gone downhill so quickly.
Oh,
But
do you remember that regional fight where he got dropped like four times in the like in every way he's like landing like a collapsing building?
yes, oh man, this guy's so funny. But as long as his fight's on the feet, he's in massive danger. My only counterpoint is that I just don't like Zhang Mingyang just hasn't showed me fuck all yet. He really hasn't. He can hit, he can get in the pocket, he can crack for sure. Haven't seen anything about his ground game. So if Johnny Walker's, got two brain cells in his head, which he doesn't, he's only got one. He would take him down. But yeah, I don't really have a huge faith that Johnny will come out and do that. So feels like this is going to be a striking fight. I think Walker could win by submission potentially. But I just don't think he's going to look for it actively. So it feels like it'd just be a shot in vain. Zhang Minyan probably knocks him out, unfortunately. It's not the greatest breakdown from either of us, but it feels likely. It's Johnny Walker.
Yeah, it doesn't. This one doesn't really require a big breakdown.
I mean, you could have made this the co-main, and you could have made Aljo and Aljo and Ortega the main, and like
Oh yeah,
they just would have got the 3 rounds. They wouldn't have mattered anyway. But I was just looking at some prices too, like under 1.5 rounds is minus 350.
oh
Under 2.5 is minus 800. Like these prices are hilarious.
yeah.
But that is UFC Shanghai. Let's go bottom to top. We'll give you our final picks. We'll come up with a wager wise pick of the week. We'll see. All right. Uran Sati Baldiev taking on Dr. Nueraji.
Nergazay,
Yeah, I think dog will pass. Nueraji 2. Xiao Long or Su Young Yu.
Zhao Long,
Yeah, I'll go Xiao Long as well. Yi Jia, Weston Wilson.
Weston Wilson.
Weston Wilson sub. Alhamdulillah.
Let's go.
Michelle Pereira, Kyle Dorcas.
Oh, do I want to take the Dark Knight? Oh no, Michelle Herrera.
It's dog or pass, and I am pretty happy to take plus 220 on the dog. Rong Zhu versus Austin Hubbard.
Rongzhu,
Yeah, I think Rong Zhu probably wins that. Charles Johnson, Loney Kavanagh.
Loney Kavanagh,
Loney Kavanagh knocks him out. Mahashate Gay Jung.
Gay Jung.
Yeah, I think I think it's close. I like under 2.5 the most, but I'll pick Gay Jung just. Nueraji, I'll do his first name. Taiyilake Nueraji, Kiefer Crosbie.
Taylake Neurology.
Yep, that'll work. Topology, right? Yep, I'm with him too. Mudaerji, Kevin Borjas.
Kevin Borjas.
I I think Mudaerji wins the decision, to be honest. Sergei Pavlovich, Waldo, Cortes-Acosta.
Salsa boy.
I'll ride with you. I don't have a strong take on this one, but I'm happy to ride with my boy for this one. The fat Dominican baseball player will win. Brian Ortega, Aljo Sterling.
Aljo.
Yeah, Aljo wins decision, and a Johnny Walker, Zhang Mingyang.
Zhang Mingyang.
And a Zhang Mingyang for me too. I don't know where we go for the pick of the week this week. I don't know.
Half, hey.
What do you think? Any suggestions?
Anything that interests me.
I reckon I'm trying to think. The one that we agreed on the most, obviously this spud, but they're not going to get much value there.
No.
I feel like we agreed on sort of how this fight was going to go roughly. I don't think I'd want to do Gay Jung money line, but I would consider the under 2.5 or fight doesn't go or something like that.
Yeah.
We both agreed Loney, but I obviously had more conviction.
Well, what's Loney Kavanagh KO?
Let me have a look. It'll be a big price. Where is he? Loney Kavanagh.
Oh, look at the
Kavanagh TKO plus 500.
I like that.
Do ya?
Plus 500. I like that.
Okay, maybe we do two. Let's do two this week.
Okay.
Let's do the Gay Jung and Marshate fight doesn't go.
Yep.
And then let's do or under 2.5. We'll talk off, and then Loney Kavanagh KO.
Yeah, I like it.
There you go. Your Wager Wise pick of the week. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Provide Picks or at Dribble Sport. There is a Dribble Sport account now. I'm slowly filling it out. I don't know if I'll be active on there, but we'll see. Or with Ryan at Desperate Times with a Z1 on Twitter. He puts all his bets out for free. He's always, posting stuff about TV and film as well, if you're into that as well. It's just an added bonus. Other than that, that's been another episode of the WagerWise podcast, episode 33 today.
No.
Ryan, anything you want to sign off with, my boy?
No, sir. Actually, us Aussies have this fight at a really nice time.
It's Saturday night, right?
Saturday night. I think prelims at 5 p.m.
Bro, last time I watched a UFC card at Saturday night, it was Zombie getting retired by Max Holloway. And I remember sitting on my couch at about midnight, tired as fuck, just like sobbing to myself. I don't think I was crying, but I was like, oh my God, it was pretty emotional.
Yeah, there was that 2 years ago. And another memory I have is years back watching Michael Bisping get knocked out by Kelvin Gastelum.
Yeah, the Mexican fridge. Yeah. What did Bisping take that on? Like a week's notice or something?
Yeah, a week's notice.
Like crazy work. He must have got big money for that one.
Oh, must have. And nearly lost his other eye.
Yeah, correct. But that is UFC Shanghai in the books. If you enjoyed and you want to see more of us, you can head to our Twitters, obviously. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. More to come. Other than that, it's been another episode. We will not see you next week. There's a week off next week. But good luck on all your bets. I hope you cash some stuff. Keep your eyes on the Twitters for the WagerWise pick of the week. Other than that, we will see you next fortnight.